How can we minimize errors in clinical and diagnostic processes? And how do we ensure that patients and clients receive faster, more accurate, and more personalized care? In this session, we explore the power of AI to automate the entire chain of medication and diagnostics. From data integration to decision support, technology can significantly reduce the administrative burden of healthcare professionals and improve the overall quality of care. In this talk show, we want to dive deeper into 3 questions. How do you turn AI into real impact within your organization? What are the bottlenecks that you likely encounter? And how do you build buy-in at the strategic level? We have 3 experts here at the table that will share their experiences, and we're going to look forward to the vision on applying AI in clinical and diagnostic processes. Welcome to Nathalie Popken, Sander van der Borne, and of course, Katherine Lazarevich. And also a special welcome to the viewers at home. And please be aware that you can ask your questions in the chat box at any time. So, before diving deeper into the speakers, we're of course curious about you as the viewers. So we would like to start with a poll question. How far along is your organization with AI in the healthcare and pharma industry? Would it be answer A, you haven't started yet? Answer B, in the beginning phase, so ad hoc and experimental. Answer C, in the integrated phase. Or answer D, in the advanced phase. Please let us know in the poll. And of course, I'm curious, what do you expect about the answers of the viewers? Sander?
I expect answer B. I think many organizations are in the beginning phase, starting to explore the potential of AI. But I also think that's about it for most organizations. Yeah.
Okay, and what about you, Nathalie? What do you expect?
Yeah, I fully agree. I think B is the most evident one because there's a lot of going around us about AI, but really implementing it is next thing. So I think the beginning phase.
Okay, and what about you?
Well, I think it depends on our viewers, but talking about like a larger scale, I'm pretty sure that many organizations at the beginning stage, because right now it's like very popular and many companies are talking about it in social networks and everywhere, but not all of them are already implemented something serious.
Okay, well, let's see what the viewers say. It's between B and C, so some are in the beginning phase and some are in the integrated phase already, but no one is not started yet and no one is in the advanced phase. So good to know who you are as viewers. And well, let's dive deeper into the topics, and starting with you, Sander. You're the CIO of Amarant. But today we're going to dive deeper into your previous experience as a manager of a clinical process manager, at GGZE, which is a mental health institute. And your project was focused on automating the entire chain within the GGZE. Could you please tell us a little bit more about this project?
Yes, this project actually is about how to automate the necessary diagnostics within the medication treatment process. And the big problem at GGZE was that the process and the steps healthcare professionals need to do in the process were not connected to each other. So they had to prescribe medication in System A, they had to order diagnostics in System B, and then they had to evaluate the results in System C. Those systems did not interact at a process level, so there were many faults in the process. And we used data, the potential of data, to actually automate that process.
And within the entire mental health care industry, what's the biggest misconception that probably innovation managers or IT managers face?
Yeah, so I think if you want to innovate, if we want to use data to actually improve our processes, my experience in the care sector of the Netherlands, people tend to look at IT for the solution. And then I think we need to embrace the fact that we actually need all the disciplines working in process and data to actually identify the real problem and come to the right solution. So we actually need a multidisciplinary team from every professional to solve these problems. Yeah.
So that was probably for you the moment that you thought, okay, we have to automate this.
Yeah.
But then another issue for you would be to gain support I guess.
Yes, yes.
How did you do that?
Well, that's also a big, like in many organizations, we have to do a lot. There are a lot of problems we want to solve. There are a lot of issues on the table. So we started with identifying the problem from the data. So we looked into the data also with medical specialists. So we actually knew the context about the data we looked in. And then we actually saw a big problem. And then we presented it also from medical perspective, and then you have a problem which people want to solve because we have actually
by making people actually aware of the problem
and achieving a same perspective of the problem from all those different disciplines.
I see that you recognize this story problem.
Yeah, I think Sander is correct. I mean, in a lot of hospitals, it's not only about the IT that makes a decision or the board level. It's really about engaging a bottom-up process. So really involving the nurses, the assistants, to have a joint effort. And I think then it's really more embraced, because normally I think a lot of AI inventions fail because it's being top-down enforced. While I think it should be really bottom-up. So I fully agree on your way of working.
And there's of course, a lot of different technologies that you could use. In your case, you used Microsoft data, I think.
Yeah.
How can you pick the suitable technology for your issues?
Yeah, I think you have to, if you're lucky, the organization has a strategy which you can use, right? For example, Microsoft First principle, and then you already have the tools to actually realize these kind of solutions. If not, then you should definitely think about the strategic part first before you are actually implementing different solutions on their own, because that IT infrastructure really needs to be robust. Really needs to really be good, and you can't pick a different infrastructure for each problem. So. And at GZT, we had an infrastructure which we could use from Microsoft. Yeah.
And I heard you mention the word robust. How do you ensure to keep it robust?
Yes, that's also you need, for one, you need a good strategy, and then you actually need a good plan to achieve the strategy, to actually make the choices, implement the choices which refer to the strategy you chose. So you need to implement good processes in your IT, in your organization, to actually make that infrastructure work, and also make it the only infrastructure, right? So. Yeah, actually also there you see a multidisciplinary team which needs to be able to make those choices and to execute them.
And then you would be able as well to secure the data in a more efficient or in a better way, probably.
Yes, yeah.
And how do you work on monitoring and evaluation? Because I think you have it on different levels, right?
Yeah.
The technical M&E, but also on the healthcare staff personnel.
Yeah. So there you also have, like, when you are diving into the problems from process point of view, then you in this particular project we actually collaborate with quality management.
Yeah.
So there, when you dive into this project, you actually, with this solution, you want to improve the medication safety, and those two are different things. We have a result, the solution, and with that result we hope to improve the medication safety. And in order to monitor that part, we have to look into the, for example, incident reports, and then we can conclude, is it successful or not. So.
I have, by the way, a question from one of our viewers, Bastiaan de Jong. He's wondering about the technology again. Why did you choose for Microsoft? Use Microsoft for AI?
As I already mentioned, we already chose Microsoft. So then we used the automation platform of Microsoft, and that was for us a way which was embedded in the culture, in the knowledge of people. So then you won't have to invest in new choices of technological solutions anymore. So sometimes the best technological solution is not the best solution for your company because you lack experience, you lack knowledge. So therefore we chose.
So it was experience-based.
Yeah.
Let's say. Okay, hopefully that answers your question as well, Bastiaan. I heard you telling as well about, you told us about multidisciplinary teams, and I think that's also a matter of, well, organization culture, because also in the multidisciplinary teams, there's a lot of different cultures. How did you manage to bring that together? Within the implementation, of course.
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, you're talking about how to manage changes. And I think that is actually the most difficult part of these projects. So,
why is that?
Because technical solutions, there are many, but making everyone work with technological solutions, making a change actually happening in the processes, that's behavior. And we all know how hard it is to actually change your own behavior in simple processes.
Change one's opinion. Yeah. Everyone has their own point of view, of course. Yeah.
For example, if you always do the laundry at night, it's really hard to change the rhythm and do it in the morning, for example. So that behavior is hard to change. And we did it starting with a medical specialist, starting with data, starting to actually understand the problem. And from there, actually talking to people, having more people in the same perspective. And then we have a common goal we actually want to achieve. And that helped to actually bring the right persons at the table and have them invest their time to invest in the solution. Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of cultures and different cultures, we're of course, well, you used to roll this product in the Netherlands. Is there anything in the Dutch culture that made it harder or even more easy, maybe?
Yeah, we have in the Netherlands, we have a big policies. We have many regulations. So yeah, we have lots of information we need to process, we need to understand before you can actually implement good solutions. So that was hard. Also bringing the right people at the right time at the table. For example, security officers, like you really need to do it together. And yeah, that's kind of hard when you know there are many different disciplines within the Dutch healthcare organization.
Of course.
Yeah.
And to you, Katherine, based on your experience, because well, you work with a lot of different organizations, different countries, different cultures.
I think that human culture is still a human culture, so it doesn't depend is it Dutch or UK, because yeah, we resist to change, and I think that shared vision and shared goal is the most important. To like when we work in groups in universities, when you combine a team and you have a shared goal, it's a little bit different story. So. We call it AI task force group when we combine like ML engineers and data scientists and just scientists or doctors, and they have a shared understanding of what has to be done, and they act as a team. So this is of course a main challenge, but it's doable if the people are sharing the same vision and the mission.
Okay, brilliant. And that's speaking, of course, from an external party, and you're from the internal party. There's a lot of in-house knowledge in your in your team, but there's also a lot of external knowledge. How do you make the decision in which cases you rely on the external parties, and in which cases you rely on the in-house knowledge that you already have?
Yeah, I think that depends on the strategic course organization has. So I think you can do both. You can do everything in house. You can you can hire some knowledge from external parties. But I think in general you should focus on your core business, because that's the part you're good at. And for healthcare organizations, the core business is providing healthcare. So I actually think
the best quality of healthcare, probably.
Yeah. So and actually to understand these processes, to understand how you use knowledge from external parties and implement it into your process. I think that's the part where both parties need to find each other and collaborate. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that's the challenge.
Yeah. A challenge, but you've managed to implement it. Could you share any results with us that you've experienced?
Yeah, so I think a big part of improving such clinical processes is that it has to be right. So the testing procedure takes time and it needs to be absolutely correct, because else you're getting a reduction of your medication safety. Mm-hmm. So we are now still testing, because we actually identified a few, the devil is always in the details. So they say we identified some things we didn't we didn't design enough solutions, so we had to actually adapt our solution a few times, and now we are actually at the stage that we can implement it into the pilot, so we can actually.
So we have to wait for the actual results.
Yeah.
And you mentioned some issues, some problems that you've faced. Can you take us through the main challenges or issues that you've had?
So I'll name one. So it's I think that makes it clear. So when you prescribe medication, for example, clozapine, then actually you want to automatically order the diagnostic research belonging to that medicine according to Dutch healthcare standards. But when you actually when you change the doses of the medication, that's the system saw that as a new entry of the data. So what you don't want is that because of the doses changes that you're also ordering a new set of diagnostic research. So those details are actually fundamental to have a good solution. So you definitely need to take much time to actually go through the whole process and the whole details. Yeah.
I see we have one question from Guillaume as well. Before you started the pilot, did you make a tight business case, or did you just start an experiment and see what went good, what fails?
No, we definitely made a business case, because when you are going to use IT, you digitalize processes. I think IT has a big cost part. Like it's very expensive. So you have to know if your investment is going to improve your business. So we actually made a business case, but then the business case for clinical processes are a bit tough, because you can't make them financial in total. So you have an investment financially, and in return you get better quality. So that's a decision you have to make. But we made a business case, and we made it on the errors that are happening in the clinical process, and also the medication safety incidents. And we compared that with the costs, and that was actually the business case which was approved. Yeah.
And of course, I'm curious about you as well, Nathalie, because we're going to dive deeper into your job as well. But looking at the question of Guillaume, what did you do? Did you use a tight business case or? No,
not yet, because we of course are still in the research phase, and I think that partly is also funded by external funders. So, but of course, in the end, if you have a small proof of principle, of course you have to make a full and tight business case. But I think it depends, because we of course are a hospital, so we also have different stakes, and I think it's also good to first test, have some research feeling before you really dive into a full business case. I think it also requires another skill and other people that should be involved.
I see another question of René Langendijk, and a note to self or note to us as well. A strong reminder that this is a strong reminder that the core business of healthcare should remain high quality care and medical expertise. She totally agrees, and I think we do totally agree as well. And her question is, how can we accelerate the adoption of proven innovations across the sector rather than continuously reinventing the wheel within our own silos? Any thoughts on that?
I think communication is the key, but I think one of the reasons why we are sitting together, we are sharing business cases, not with each other, but with larger community, and basically by sharing the experience, by sharing the knowledge, we're helping others to not repeat the same issues. Mm-hmm.
No, but I think I really like the question of René, because I think that is the biggest problem we are facing today. There are a lot of proven innovations out there based on AI, but like I said before, every healthcare institution should have a clear AI policy. And my recommendation is they should be the same, because it's really strange that one hospital has an AI policy that looks direction B, the other one has direction C. So I think it's not cut and clear that it's only about the companies, but I think also about the hospitals. They should really team up together. Like this is a list of concrete proven innovations across the sector. How can we really implement them?
I think also, in addition to your answer, I think it's really strange also that we are with different companies are also do our own like secure analysis, and then I get we should definitely share them with each other and actually accept that we use other organizations' effort. Like we are tending to think, but we need to analyze it on our own so we need to accept that we should share information.
But that's why I think the first step in the AI policy on the broader level in the healthcare field should be first check what's already out there, is it proven, and let's join or invite them in our hospital to see what are the lessons learned, and can we also use that instead of reinventing the wheel again. But
And I hear you saying, Nathalie, the healthcare future, and that's maybe one question I would like to ask Sander as well from your experience. Within, let's say, 3 to 5 years, what would be the ideal future?
Yeah, I think two steps. Like I think in the next years we will actually see good quality assistance for medical professionals. So I think, like for example, an assistant who actually can use a large language model to interpret all the information in the different systems, compare it with what Dutch healthcare standards prescribe as good quality of healthcare, and then actually chat with medical professional for, hey, I see this, but this is what standards prescribe. What should you do? So then you are actually having an assistant which helps you, also with administration, obviously. And I think if you look into the medication process, digital twinning should be there in the next years. And then you can actually test the effect of your medication on a digital twin. That should be really effective. So
okay. And also maybe a little bit future-based, but if you could change one thing to accelerate or improve the infrastructure based on IT in healthcare, what would that one thing be?
Yeah, I think that's one which is going to be on the soft skills of the organizations.
Communication again.
Yeah, communication, accepting work with other parties have done, and don't tend to analyze again and again. And I also think accepting that digitalization isn't overhead anymore. It's your healthcare power. It's primary process. So you can't split digitalization and your primary process, healthcare process anymore. It has become one. So we actually have to consider it as one and make it part of the strategic decisions on the boardroom in your processes, etc.
Okay. Well, thank you, Sander, for sharing your experiences, and I hope your questions to now are also answered. And if not, there's also room in the chat to ask some more questions about what Sander just told us, or maybe add something to it. Let's check if there are any questions. No, René says, great thoughts. I totally agree. Thank you. And let's share and connect. Well, that's a beautiful invitation to you, Sander, and probably to Katherine and Nathalie as well. Maybe some other people who want to share thoughts or questions. And if not, I would also like to continue with you, Katherine, of course.
Okay.
Because, you have a completely different experience, of course, from Digiteum. And I would love to know from you, what inspired you the most within the job that you're doing?
Well, what inspired me the most is I actually can see many business cases and like working in an organization when, just one hospital or one clinical organization, we're working with different companies and we can participate in different projects and learn from them and and actually spread the innovation across the different organizations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you also want to make probably the organizations AI ready.
We do, of course.
Okay. So what's the groundwork to make an organization AI ready?
Okay. So being AI ready, it's half about the technology and half about people. So when we talk about technology, of course, data is a foundation. You should know your data, how it's structured, who owns it. You should make sure that different systems are talk to each other. What Sandra mentioned, that there is always in big organization, even like middle organization, couple systems. You should make sure that you have a shared, clear format of data. So and the security is built in. And when it comes to people, we also like touch it already, the culture, the mindset of sharing goal as another part of a readiness. So if you have clean, secure data and aligned and confident team, actually you are ready, and AI become a force multiplier rather than a headache.
Okay, and what are the common gaps that you usually experience within the implementation, before the implementation actually starts?
Common gaps is it's a lot about the data. The data is not ready. Could be problems with data quality, missing data or fields or whatever. Again, data fragmentation. Sometimes the data even not fully digitalized. Even if there are some digital systems, there are still paper reports here and there. So a little bit data in Excel because this doctor prefers Excel than the system or whatever. So this is usually the gaps when it comes to technology.
Okay.
Data quality is actually quite a big problem, I guess, in the healthcare setting. So do you have any tips how to improve the data quality? Can, for example, AI help with improving the quality?
Well, definitely. So the data quality check should be automated, because this is it's possible to check if there are some data that are out of range, or some, for example, if it's talking about the report, some missing measurement units, or the AI can easily detect the anomalies, right? So because we often use AI for detecting anomalies, and this really help to check the data. And if there are some problem with the data, what we usually do, we isolate this data feed, make sure that someone have checked, corrected it, and then we'll push it back to the regular feed.
Okay. And there's of course a critical role of data and privacy and data, challenges security within healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
How can Digiteum help to, challenge that?
Well, when it comes to security, so it shouldn't be, the checklist at the end of the project. It should be privacy and security should be built in from the day one. So first of all, it's important to map out the rules and make sure that everyone is aware about the boundaries, because there are, of course, in Europe it's GDPR, in the United States it's HIPAA, and there are some local ministry rules depending on the country, and everyone, of course, they are in the organization, including IT department, a third-party IT company, should be aware about the boundaries and communicate it. Of course, there are some technical safeguards, so data has to be encrypted in transit and at rest. Access data should follow needs to know principle, so only if you need to know, then you have an access. Of course, we used a lot anonymized data or masked data, and even sometimes we train a model on synthetic data, so instead of using real data. And cloud also has to be set up with zero trust level. It means that every service should authenticate and nothing is open to the network. And finally, of course, there is management safeguards. So Sandra mentioned, some security advisor should check and audit that data that everything is secured on the process level. There should be penetration tests. So everything has to be traceable to make sure that you have audit logs and you can check all data. So basically, what we do, we turn security from a blocker to a quality gate. So when the security is built in, our clients can sleep well at night and continue to innovate.
Okay, well, sleeping well at night, that sounds good. Thank you for that. And we'll definitely get back to you afterwards. And we're moving on to Nathalie. But before we're moving on to you, I would like to move to the viewers as well with another poll question, just to check your experiences. So our question to you will be, which process are you considering applying AI to? Is that A, diagnostics, B, treatment and therapy, C, medication and pharmaceutical management, or D, healthcare administration and logistics? So please give your answers. And again, I'm really curious, what do you expect of the answers of the viewers?
Well, I'm optimistic, and I think that medication and pharmaceutical management should be the case, because I really hope that, that in pharma, with help of AI, there will be a lot of innovations.
Okay.
So,
and what about you, Nathalie?
Yeah, I think more D, because we have enormous waiting times in the Netherlands, and the administrative burden on our healthcare staff is immense. So I think D. But
So Dutch-based, it would be D.
Dutch-based, yeah. Worldwide, I don't know, but Dutch-based.
And what about you?
I totally agree about D, because I think the most frustration for healthcare professionals is actually the administration they have to do. So.
Okay, well, let's find out what the viewers think. And in fact, the viewers are probably Dutch-based, because it's mainly D that they voted. There's some about diagnostics and treatment and therapy as well. But the absolute winner of this poll will be healthcare administration and logistics. So not a big surprise for my left side of the table. So Nathalie, let's move on to you, because let's see, you are the innovation manager at the Eye Hospital, or innovation and research manager, I should say. Well, you're going to take us into the world of artificial intelligence within the Eye Hospital, probably. Can you tell us a little bit more about your AI application in the Rotterdam Eye Hospital?
Yes, of course. Yeah, within the Rotterdam Eye Hospital, we saw a lot of potential. Yeah, we still see it. But there's one highlight I want to express today. That's about glaucoma. It's a really severe eye condition. About 500,000 people are being diagnosed every year with this severe eye condition, which will lead to blindness. And one of our astonishing doctors, Hans Lemay, invented a tool, the AI tool, a long time ago, that can early detect if you have a glaucoma, which I think is very great, because of course it will help us in maybe providing better treatment, but also slowing down the process of getting blind. And his PhD, Sebastian van Meijel, is now working on this case with the Rotterdam study. It's a big ergo study, a big population group, where we can test really this AI innovation. And of course, hopefully this will lead to, at least in my opinion, to a less pressure on our healthcare system, because nothing is worse than people are being false referred, and the people that have to have that quality of care in time don't get it. So that's actually, in short, what it entails.
Thank you. And of course, for such projects, you need support as well. And of course, while the IT and innovation management will support it, but you would need support from medical staff and patients as well. How did you gain that, or how do you gain that?
Well, within the team, of course, this is something that has to be, like Katherine said, from the beginning on, and also Sander, because it's not just a tool. It is being embraced by the people that should perform it, the people that should get the care with the AI tool. So within an early stage, you already sit around the table with the different stakeholders. That can be the patient, it can be the doctor, it can be the nurse, it can be the healthcare assistant, to really grasp down what is important. And across the journey of doing research, you will come to some setbacks, some hiccups, and then like sprints in the IT world, you sit back together and then resolve it. So I think one of the biggest recommendations is, again, don't do it top-down, but do it bottom-up, and really listen carefully at the end users. Because I think, again, language is key. A doctor speaks a different language than an IT expert, and an IT expert speaks another language than a healthcare member. So I think it's really important that we translate, and I see that as a role in my case as the manager of research and innovation at our hospital, because you need to foster that. And or else it will be just an innovation that doesn't get any support.
So that's where the soft skills that Sander mentioned.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I always say first the people and then AI. Yeah. Because that is how it should be.
I totally agree.
And you say first the people, then AI, but however, if you say first the people, there's a lot of fear maybe also on data security, privacy, also in your case with, some images that could be, how do you say, sensitive.
No, that's a good question. I think in our field we have, of course, sensitive images, the fundus images. We have over more than 100,000 are being analyzed, and the security in that is that they are all pseudo-anonymized, which means that you cannot relate any information that comes into line with the patient, and we have it all stored on a backup that is secure and safety or requires all the safety measurement. But I think also the ethical part is important to highlight here, because most of the AI tools are being tested in not just a clinical setting, but within our field we also have the population study. So I think that is a good resemblance of women, men, different ethnicity backgrounds, which make it really, I think, easy if you can prove it, that it is applicable to a general population. And I think that's also what I want to give to the viewers back, that if you are developing an AI tool, don't make it small, but already think about scalability opportunities, about what is the population amount, and in an early stage, instead of when you're already starting and we see that it still hampers a specific amount of.
But by making it scalable and small, you could also get stuck in just one institution.
Exactly. Yeah.
What is your experience with that?
Well, I think the scalability should be also in the beginning. You should always see if we make an innovative tool that is not only for your own system, make it compatible with other systems, but also look at the way to implement it. So what is the framework? What is the way that people will use this in practice? Because one is the tool. That has to be, I think, universal. But the second thing is how can you implement it on the floor? And I think that is what a lot of companies, innovators, engineers are lacking. That the usability, the user-friendliness is also very important.
I feel there is quite a contradiction between getting the right amount and quality of data in relation to information security. How do you experience? Do you experience problems with getting the right amount and quality of data?
Well, at this moment, not yet. But of course, I think also what Katherine said, you have to be ready. The level of readiness AI depends on your data. So, for instance, in my field, if the doctor doesn't or the assistant doesn't make the right photo, the fundus image, then it's useless to train the AI tool. So that we will discover if it's a high rate or if it's acceptable. And then, of course, you have to go back to the table to see, okay, you have to make it like this, the photo image, because then it's AI suitable. Yeah. So I also see an innovation, maybe for the viewers, how can you make sure, or like a toolkit, to get the right images, because it will save us time. Because if you think you have 50,000 images, but 80% is not AI ready, then you also have not the right data.
Are you actually able to get photos also from other hospitals?
Yes, we work with, Okay. So that's, of course, because to really have that high quality images, we are always looking around to partner up with universities, international or in the Netherlands. Yeah. Because then, of course, the population is higher, and then you can really train the tool better and quicker.
And speaking of other hospitals, this is something that really triggers me, because the Rotterdam Eye Hospital is quite big. Yeah. You have a lot of data, but you also have the right infrastructure. But maybe smaller hospitals do have the data, but have a lack of infrastructure, and they have limited budgets, of course. What would you advise to them?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would advise to, of course, first always get your data infrastructure in place, because I think that's key before looking for AI innovations. But after that has been said and done, then my recommendation would be look for a low cost upfront AI tool that's already proven. I think, like Renee mentioned in the beginning, because that really makes a difference. It has to be low upfront cost, but high impact, that you can really measure the return on investment and show within your hospital, like, hey, we have a small AI tool, but look what the gains are. And then I think you can really go to the board, go to the decision maker to see, like, I think we should invest. And like you said, Sander, don't put IT, it's just an operating department. No, it should be the prime as well nowadays. So,
And also in relation to the other question from one of the viewers, like when you want to innovate and not inventing the wheel again and again, do you also see possibilities where like the bigger, the more wealthier institutes are actually innovating, and then the small institutes can use those?
Of course, yeah. That's also one of the main, I think, objectives for smaller hospitals. Team up with the academic centers, but also with companies like yours, because we don't have the time. Yeah. Nor the investment to do it ourselves. And I think that's also a shift in mind.
And actually, no one needs to also repeat someone's mistake. So this is because it's also about part of inventing the wheel. Is actually the biggest part is just repeating someone's mistakes, right? So
exactly. But also in the Rotterdam Eye Hospital where I work, we just had a big Higgs integration that is a lot of energy, took a lot of energy from the employees. So you really want to, if you to do something new, really want to make sure that there are already results. It's proven. Yes, so that's also a thing.
And which Higgs did you experience during the implementation, the integration?
What do you mean?
In the Rotterdam Eye Hospital, there were some Higgs maybe in the implementation phase as well.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, my experience is that people are just tired, and it's because it's a whole new way of working, and that it's again an administration because you need to work with a new tool. But if you have to do already a new thing, for a lot of people, and especially in the medical field, it becomes, then we have another innovation, we have another AI tool. While I think that shouldn't be the case, we should look what are the benefits.
Yeah. What's the power of?
Yeah, so I think it's really important for smaller hospitals to really look at a good planning in your whole hospital. What is the best timing? Because I also agree on that one. We shouldn't push everything, but we also cannot stop and say we don't do anything on AI. I think that's really a worst case.
All right, I totally agree. I think we should look at the biggest frustration which actually healthcare professionals are facing right now, and actually solve those frustrations first, and then use AI actually to help people and from their perspective.
And maybe a good one that I also want to mention, what I did last month was I organized a healthcare innovation challenge within the Rotterdam Eye Hospital for 10,000 euros. I say for the nurse, the doctor, even the cleaner can submit an idea to improve the work process. And we got already 15 ideas.
Wow.
And the beauty of it is that people are thinking like, how can I work more efficient? How can I work better? So I'm really happy that that's also a way of putting it bottom up, that people think about how can I reinvent my work, my daily work. We got a nice couple of innovations already, so that's also, I think, a practical way of promoting it.
So basically, like involving people, because but that's personal involvement is always
a voice, and not only the top management, but I think more people on the bed,
that's brilliant idea.
More people on the bed, but also the patient themselves. What concrete impact did the application have so far for the patients?
Yeah, well, it's a difficult question because we're also still in the testing phase. So maybe about 1 year we know more.
You agree on that as well?
But let's say the meetings we had with patients, of course, it makes a big deal for them because, like I said in the introduction, we face huge waiting times in the Netherlands in the healthcare landscape. So if you really make a shift between the people that need the care and get it in time and people who don't need it, I think that's a win-win for all of us. So and that's something that we also got back from the first patients panels, that they want the best quality of care, but also in time. Because how awful is it if you know that you have glaucoma and you know that you will get blind within years, but if you know it in advance, we might do something. And that's, I think, where we should focus on.
So no concrete impact results yet, but very promising and hopeful.
Yeah. Of course, the concrete example is that the AI tool is running, but like you said, you have to go to the CE mark, the medical regulations. So I'm very hesitant to say that we have the impact yet.
And same question for you as for Sander, future-wise, and let's say within 5 years. What would you hope to see evolved, and what role can the Netherlands play?
Well, I hope what we'll see in 5 years. I think if I look at the Rotterdam Eye Hospital, we're really focusing on the new genetics. For instance, you can detect already Alzheimer in the eye organ, which has really promising results. But I think also if you look at genetics, and AI, that's also a very interesting field. So in the upcoming years, I see that really uprising. Diagnostic, early diagnostic in the eye care field, in the ophthalmology world, and also less administrative burden. So I really think, like you said, virtual assistants, more focusing on speech text administration, AI tools, instead of writing everything down. And what would I hope for the Netherlands? Well, we have a lot of, how can I say, great companies like yours, but also big academic centers. And I think what I like, we have organizations like TechLeap, which are really front runners. So I hope that we will get that pioneering role. But in order to do that, I also will make a noise to the Ministry of Welfare, because it's horrific that there are being budget cuts in the healthcare sector. So I'm hopeful, but with that kind of new wave of the administration, I'm also a bit doubting. It's really, we should really do it together. I mean, because at this moment, also the administration, the budget cuts are not helping us, I think.
Thank you. So we have to do it together. That's an invitation to you as well as viewers at home. Are there any questions that you have? Please feel free to share them in the chat. And if there are no questions, I would like to continue with Katherine as well. But if there are any questions, feel free to ask them, to share them with us, and we'll get back to you as well. So Katherine, you processed a lot of diagnostical data, and I'm sure there were some challenges in that as well. What were those challenges?
Okay, I will probably give you an example of one of our clients is Digiteum. They are having a platform for precision medicine. So generally speaking, they have more than 250 labs across 51 countries, as you can imagine, and this is genetic test and blood test. As you can imagine, there are many different formats, and this is one of the challenge, of course, to make sure that you have some appropriate mapping and you convert the data into one format. Usually it's like HL7 FHIR inspired schema. This is like a healthcare format of data. Yeah, and another challenge is, of course, that there are a lot of data. Imagine the 250 labs, so the volume is quite big. It's millions of records. And for this purpose, what we usually do is we use like auto-scaling features on the cloud infrastructure. So in the busy periods, it's scaling up or down, depending on the period. So, for example, for Digiteum, we, because of optimizing the cloud infrastructure, we first of all decrease the cost of infrastructure by almost 70%. And we also, by building appropriate data pipelines, decrease the data preparation time and query latency down from 1 minute to about 60 seconds. No, and the third challenge, which we already discussed a little bit with Sandra, is data quality. Because again, so the more data, the more issues. So missing data, out-of-range data, missing measurement units, and auto-validation is key to tackle this challenge. So, for example, again, so for Digiteum, our project was very successful. We built very good, clean data layer, governed data layer, and they actually even was finalist in Healthcare Tech Awards within the categories Best Use of Data, Best Use of AI and Automation, and Excellence in Cloud Technologies.
Okay, thank you. I'll definitely come back to you with another question, but in between we have a question especially for Nathalie. The question is from Karen Phillips, and did you experience obstacles from doctors?
No, not obstacles. No, I think a lot of doctors in the Rotterdam Eye Hospital are very keen on working on new technologies because they see the benefits. For instance, a lot of our doctors are in international committees on different eye diseases, so they really see the benefit. So I would say that, no, those group are really not the obstacles. I see more obstacles in what I think Sander also already mentioned. How can we make sure that, of course, we want to provide the best quality of care, but still also focusing on IT innovations? And I think that is really, for me, the biggest obstacle. Like, how can we really incorporate it that we still provide the best care, but also invest in innovation? So that's really, something that I see. How can we, challenging, not impossible, but challenging. Let me say it like that. Yeah.
Thank you, Nathalie, and thank you for a lovely question, Karen, as well. Getting back to you, Katherine. I'm sure there's something that excites you the most in GenAI and the uses currently in healthcare. If there's one thing that excites you, what would it be?
It would be voice interfaces, because we already get used to like chat interfaces, ChatGPT and all other tools, but voice interfaces excite me most, especially in healthcare. For example, right now we're working with the Readiness. It's AI assistant for patient adherence, and it's allow you to track your symptoms, your blood pressure, level of glucose, and even food, what you're eating, using a voice interface. And we see very great results, because our users are usually people with chronic disease like diabetes, and they are not like young generation who can fill in the forms like non-stop. So voice interface is more natural because it can ask follow-up questions. So what did you eat for the breakfast? Oatmeal? How big the portion was? So was it with butter or milk? And it's more natural. And imagine how much time it could save, for example, in healthcare organization, just Nathalie mentioned, right? So record the visit. So, for example, in the call center, in a triage in the hospital, there are a lot of forms to be filled with symptoms. When did you have whatever? And imagine how much time it could save and how natural it could be.
I can in fact see and feel your excitement, and probably the viewers are excited as well. Regarding the viewers, if they would like to implement AI within their organization, what would you advise them, or how can you help them from Digiteum?
Okay, 4 simple steps. So first, do your data and AI readiness check. For example, we as an organization have a special workshop which usually takes like about 2 to 4 hours, where we can assess all your data landscape, your connectivity, your integrations, your data quality, and suggest an actionable roadmap. So how to move forward towards great foundation of your data layer. The second step is select a process to innovate with like biggest return of investment. Let's say automation of some diagnostic report. Just make sure that you have an idea what benefits it should bring. The third step, where we also can help, is to build a proof of concept. It could be like just 10 to 12 weeks, but with like a clear idea of success criteria. You can check your hypothesis and measure the results. But I would like to also agree with Nathalie that even the proof of concept should have a scalability in mind, a connectivity to other systems in mind. Otherwise, you're just spending money for this, toy. Call it toy. But the proper proof of concept, and here we do a lot of consultations to make sure that healthcare organizations we talk with understand the benefits they would like to build to get, because we are not interested in building a toy with proof of concept who will never be used. So, and the final step is again, my colleagues also mentioned that make sure that you invite end users early. It's very important. Nothing kills AI faster than poor adoption by users. So this is like 4 simple steps to secure your success. So start small, quick wins, measure everything, and again we can help with data readiness check, AI readiness check, and building a proof of
If those 4 steps are managed, there shouldn't be any objections anymore, right?
Exactly.
And that's maybe a question that I want to ask to the viewers as well, with a poll. For you as a viewer, what would be the biggest obstacle to AI implementation within your organization? Would it be A, security or privacy, or privacy? Would it be B, the poor data quality? C, the poor data integration? Or answer D, change management, which is of course a culture thing as well. What would it be? And let's check in with the speakers, the guests here at the table as well. What do you expect from the viewers?
Difficult one, yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to say because
It's hard to say?
but I think that I would say change management and poor data quality should win.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, security is also part of actually change management. Actually, so
it's all integrated. It's just answer A, everything.
yeah.
I agree. I think all obstacles are actually.
So there was one answer E missing, all of the above.
Yeah, all of the above. Yeah.
Well, however, we see the results coming in right now, and I see that the absolute winner is poor data integration with 42%. It's getting equal right now with poor data quality.
Yeah.
And security and privacy is also an issue, an obstacle. And change management, surprisingly, with 0%. Is the loser of this poll.
But I think that because our viewers are, engaged, people.
But that's quite surprising based on your vision, right?
Yeah, because I think poor data quality, you can, once you have identified that the data is inefficient, the quality is inefficient, I think you can always improve, right? Mm-hmm. But I think change management for me is key because the vision, the mission, like you said, IT shouldn't be overhead. No. That are for me cut and clear objectives of a great AI policy. So
yeah, I agree. I actually I think change management would be the biggest.
Yeah, that's what we also.
Yeah.
Again, so our viewers are probably super prepared.
You're super prepared. So thank you for your preparation.
Thank you.
Beforehand.
Thank you for being such a nice viewer.
Of course, in a few I would like to close this talk show with Katherine and your biggest takeaways. But beforehand, I'm gonna send it to you as well. What would be your takeaway message for the viewers of today?
I think that I mentioned it before. I think that the most important takeaway for me is to see IT not as overhead, not as something which is additional to processes, but actually to see it as a part of our healthcare process and actually understand that it is digitalization equals your healthcare. Mm-hmm. I guess that's what I want to.
Digitalization equals your healthcare.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a beautiful takeaway message. And for you, Nathalie, if you could give one takeaway message to the viewers of today.
Yeah, well, I think my takeaway to the viewers should be really invest in your people, invest in your healthcare staff, because I think that's key. I think it starts with the mindset. It starts with building up a kind of behavior around new innovations, new AI developments. So invest in that. And I think then it will be much easier to implement AI innovations.
Okay, thank you. And based on your experience, Katherine, in healthcare and pharma, what would be the takeaway message to the viewers from your side?
Well, I think that, to be honest, healthcare deserves the best because it's actually a foundational industry. It's all about our health. So don't afraid to try and innovate because the future is now. And if you not sure, come to specialists who can consult you and help and try it because it's not always a huge project. Sometimes even small change can make a big impact.
Small change can make big impact. And if I can close it with a one-liner, don't be afraid. Yeah, and go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And well, that brings us also to the end of this online talk show. Today we've seen how AI can play a role in improving diagnostic and medical processes. If your organization also wants to benefit from the possibilities of AI and data, Katherine at Digiteum would be really happy to help you. Whether you're just starting with data integration or data foundation, or you have already taken steps, like all of you, I think we saw in the poll, Digiteum offers solutions to make your data even more valuable. So feel free to schedule a conversation with her to explore the possibilities. Thank you very much for the participation, for your interesting questions, the input in the polls. We hope to see you again in a future session. Have a great day to you as viewers, and also a special thanks to Sander, Nathalie, and Katherine. Thank you very much, and have a great day to you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.